and doing a special daytime episode because you were too scared to do this at nighttime.
You weren't supposed to say that live on air.
Oh shoot! Oh, we're recording already. Sorry about that.
That trust is already broken as we're going live. All right, man, here we go. Conjuring 3, get ready. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
Well, welcome back, guys. The dynamic duo is back together again.
Yep. A little summertime horror flick.
Yeah, Fright Cap, summertime Fright Cap.
If anyone actually isn't familiar, we have a whole playlist of scary movies. I'll go ahead and put the card up for that right now. Of the movies that we've done. You want to get your goosebumps on, check those out so you can hear our recommendations. But yeah, man, The Conjuring 3, I know you were super stoked.
Yeah, this was actually supposed to come out during like almost Halloween time for 2020, but considering, theaters weren't still open and we were still going through that whole scary pandemic. So, but now it's coming out HBO Max as well as simultaneously in the theaters as well. So yeah, let's get to it. And yeah, I was pretty pumped about this because I do like all the Conjuring movies, the Conjuring universe, if you will.
Well, before we dive into it, if this is your first time watching the show, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate it. Does us a favor with the algorithms. I'll also go ahead and put up our grading system right now. Just breaking down how we grade all of our movies. We like to give a numeric grade at the end and just kind of put a stamp on what we thought and how we felt about the movies. And you can also find those also in the show notes, in the YouTube notes below, if you ever want to follow along, and leave your comments below too. Let us know what you guys think. What kind of score would you guys give this movie? And any other thoughts that you guys have. We always look forward to your feedback. And then also, if you guys are on the Instagrams, I'll go ahead and put up our Instagram tag handle as well. Go ahead and find us there and feel free to follow us along there. But since it is a rare day cap, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking just water because, it's literally noon. I'm about to go to the gym. Maybe, I should put some pre-workout in here.
You should, yeah. At least you got that esoteric mug going on, so kind of keep it with the vibe. And you got your trademark beanie, and I got my trademark black shirt. So doesn't matter what time of day it is. We're like, catch us in the same outfit. Yeah, speaking of which, I'm drinking some amino acids right now. Shout out to Gorilla Mind if you guys are watching.
More place, more dates.
Got to get those gains, all right? So
we're in the super physiological movie reviews right now.
And as you can tell, I am natty.
we should do a natty or not.
100% natty. I think it's painfully obvious.
Yeah, Derek's doing natty or not, the Delt Lord.
We don't need Derek breaking us down with my picture of me with my shirt off, all right? All right.
40% body fat.
Let's get into something not quite as scary. Let's get into The Conjuring 3. What'd you think of the story, man?
Devil made me do it. This was I was waiting for them to actually do this because this is like one of their more famous cases. It's the first US case that tried to do the defense of demon possession in the US. So that was pretty cool. I give it a 6 out of 10 because I this was one of their more famous cases, even though it got a lot of media, but nothing really in terms of the trial that they had anything to do with. So that was pretty funny that he made such a big deal out of it.
Yeah, I ended up giving it a 5. I was kind of struggling with it. I think it was an interesting idea, what they were thinking about, like playing with that, but it didn't really get much into the and spoilers if you guys aren't prepared. It doesn't really get too much into the trial itself.
No, absolutely not.
I thought that was going to be a big part of it. At least that's what I was expecting, and it kind of just really steered clear to that. Which at first I thought of that as like a negative, but the more I thought about it, I was like, actually, that makes sense because it kind of fits more the universe to me.
Yes, they definitely. What I really liked about this Conjuring one is they really took a different approach than the other Conjuring movies, which I appreciate. I appreciated that they didn't rely super heavy on jump scares on this one, which I really appreciated.
Not that they're light on jump scares though, because there's plenty to be had.
There's plenty, but definitely not as much as the two Conjurings as well as the other 5 spinoffs, the Annabelle spinoffs and the Nun spinoffs. Heavy on the jump scares. You're almost just like waiting for it, like in every corner.
Yeah, overall, I gave it a 5 in terms of story. I thought it was all right. I mean, it's very, and it almost feels a little formulaic. I mean, I haven't seen all of the movies in this universe, but it feels very systematic in the way they do things, and it delivers. I mean, if you're a fan of this universe, I don't see. I mean, you're gonna like it. I would suspect, right? I mean, I don't. Everything you're
Yes.
expecting is there.
Yeah, everything you're expecting from a Conjuring movie is it's gonna be, well, segue to the production. It's gonna look great. It's gonna be super stylized. It's gonna have a creepy soundtrack, and yeah, it's gonna be gritty, pretty. Like I mentioned, our long time ago, like review for the original Conjuring. But yeah, I gave it the production 16 out of 20 because it's these movies have a high floor, low ceiling. It's always gonna look good, and
Exactly.
you know what you're gonna come in and get from these movies.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to describe it. I give it a 17. I think the
Okay.
movie looks great. Very consistent across the board with all their movies, which is good because if you're
Hmm.
a fan of this universe, that consistency, it's nice to see that, and it's done well. But let's get into the performances. And I mean, really, you don't have to look too much further than Patrick Wilson and Vera. Is it Farmiga? I
Farmiga.
forget. Yeah,
Yeah.
how you say your last name. They really carry the load again here. They're the
Mhm.
heroes in these stories, even if not necessarily the main characters. But again, solid performances. They didn't,
Right.
they're checked in and doing a lot of the emotional lifting as well as the Arnie Johnson's character and the little boy.
Mhm.
And this one too. I mean, it kind of, I don't know. I didn't see the second one. Definitely they go directly at him, right? In terms of like the conflict
Yeah.
comes to them.
Yeah, this is the acting with Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. They have such a great chemistry together,
They
and
really do.
they do carry the movie. Their acting wasn't as good as probably the first or second one, in my humble opinion. I think that the second Conjuring was the best of the bunch of all the Conjuring universe. Just my opinion. And I actually like John Noble as Kastner, Father Kastner in this one.
Hmm.
Even though he wasn't, I like him as an actor, but he wasn't in many scenes. But you know, whenever he was coming, whenever scene he did come in, it was very convincing. So yeah, I gave a 21 out of 30 for the acting because they do. Patrick and Vera have great chemistry, but I don't think that their acting wasn't as good as the first and the second Conjuring.
Okay. Yeah, I give it a 23. Man, I thought I was going to be a little harder on it than you are, but
Hmm.
so far I'm being a little more generous with the points. I thought they did a good job. I mean, some of the characters obviously are kind of, there's not much arc here if you're looking for anything like that, but I don't
Yeah.
I don't think you go into this movie looking for that. So in terms of for what it is, I thought, they do a great job, and the additional characters they do okay.
Hmm.
The only one I would say who's just a little bit too cardboard for me was Betty's character. I thought she was just a
Yeah.
little, I mean, pretty one dimensional, kind of oblivious, like, laughably so. But someone has to be in these movies. So I guess it just had to be her. But overall, I thought the performances were all right. Like you said, the father Castner's role too, he was pretty
Yes.
good. That guy, he's just so creepy looking in general, right?
Yeah. Ever since like from was it The Return of the King? And I really liked them in Fringe also, the TV series.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's get into the actual execution itself of the
Mhm.
directing in this. What did you give in terms of directing?
I gave it a 20 out of 30. It looks like a James Wan movie, but James Wan is only the producer. It wasn't the director. I The director slips my mind. I know he did another movie, another offering in the Conjuring universe with the Curse of La
It's
Llorona.
Michael Chaves or Michael
Yes.
Chavez. I don't know how he pronounces it.
Yeah, he did like Curse of La Llorona also for this Conjuring universe, which I actually really like that movie too, even though it really got shitted on. But yeah, it definitely, like I said, I touched on. I definitely appreciate that he didn't rely heavily on jump scares. Not like I could have counted like maybe in one hand how many jump scares there were in this movie. Unlike all the other Conjurings, it was pretty much almost every scene you were expecting a jump scare. So I definitely appreciated that. And like I said, it looks slick. It looks very stylized, like the James Wan style that we all know and love for these Conjuring movies. And yeah, how about you?
See, I don't know. I almost had almost like an opposite take. I felt like, but again,
Mm,
then again, I'm not really deep into this universe. But for me, I was
right.
like, I felt like it almost over delivered on everything, and I don't know if that's a good thing.
Hmm.
For instance, like the opening act, which they do on the other movies as well, right, where it shows the exorcism scene with the little boy. It's just
Right.
so it raises the action level and like the paranormal level to a 10 right off the bat. It's kind of hard to
Right.
live up to that. So then you kind of dip down. We get introduced to the new character. This is the story. See the
Hmm.
possession take place, but it never really reaches that same fever pitch again. I felt towards the end because it's already been, it's already kind of lost the edge because we got that so early, and
Right.
so for me there wasn't a lot of tension in the movie. Like it just felt like you're kind of just going
Yeah,
through the motions, and you're either on board and kind of going for it, or you're not, you know.
like
But in terms of like actual execution, I can't really knock them too bad for what it is. I thought it was done okay. It's like you said earlier, you know, high floor, low ceiling.
mhm,
You're not gonna like be like totally wowed by it, but at the same time
right,
too, I can't really knock it for anything specifically that jumps out at me that isn't, you know, a typical trope in any other like, you know, one of these big studio
right.
horror movies.
Right, it's not gonna break any ground, like how the first Conjuring did, but like we were harping on, it's a high floor, low ceiling because you know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a good looking movie. You're gonna get scared a couple times with these jump scares, and you're gonna leave the theater, satisfied.
Yeah. So in terms of score for directing, I don't know if I gave mine. It was I gave it 21 out of 30.
Okay,
So would you give?
I gave it a 20 out of 30.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we're kind of tracking, kind of still similar
Mhm.
there. But let's get into X Factor. I know you're, like I said, more deeper in this universe than I am.
Right.
Would you give it in terms of X Factor? I'm anxious to hear.
The X Factor, I still gave it a 6 out of 10. I still really like this universe, and considering the Warrens literally have hundreds of cases, I'm sure there's plenty of movies in the pipeline, maybe even a TV show in the pipeline that people are still going to want to watch. So I'm still all in for it, and yeah, it's just funny. It's just funny that they really harped on the devil made me do it thing about the case when literally the Warrens really didn't really have much to do with the case right off the bat when they first presented our defense is going to be a demon possession. Right away the judge threw it out. There he's
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
He's
kind
like,
of
no,
loses the plot a
no.
little bit. I mean, in terms of like you said, at least the title. I mean, I think it's the story is told consistently, but the trial seems like an afterthought at the end, right?
It was definitely an afterthought just because it just kind of laid, the groundworks for the actual case, but the trial itself really didn't do it. It was no evidence was even presented because the judge literally threw it out there. He was like, you can't prove this. None of the jury's ever going to listen to this evidence. In the very end, the evidence was pretty much self-defense. So it almost at the very end of this movie, it made it seem like, all right, they presented this evidence. That's why he got away with just manslaughter for 5 years. Literally, they just did a self-defense thing, and he got sentenced to 20 years, but he just got out of 5 years out of good behavior.
Which is pretty incredible. And they also make Bruno the friend or whatever character that gets killed, or they make him such a despicable character that there's
Yeah.
like no tears for him. You know what I mean? Like they make him just so
Right.
over the top. So I'm like, okay, it's clear we're supposed to empathize with Arnie and not that guy
Mhm.
for a second. And then, like you said, it plays out and he ends up, going to jail at the end. But like, again, it feels just kind of like an afterthought. I just think, I don't know. I went into it expecting to hear more about the trial and kind of to play off the
Yeah.
mystery of, well, did the devil really influence him? Was there other
Mhm.
things going on? And maybe kind of playing with that up until the end and, then kind of letting the story unravel that way. Wasn't really the case. Instead, it kind of followed the same patterns of the other Conjuring movies. And, you end up going to the paranormal and trying to break the curse and all this and that. Which I don't know. I mean, I guess at first, like I said, originally it kind of left a distaste in my mouth
Mhm.
on it because I was like, I think you should have went that way. But now that I look at it, I'm like, if you're watching the Conjuring universe, there is no mystery. He's right. I mean, the whole universe is set up around paranormal and demon possession
Right.
and that. So to have a trial wouldn't really make sense, kind of covering that because that's not really what you know what I mean. People who are watching this universe, that's not really what you've already answered that question. We already saw the kid in the beginning so possessed that like he's floating around the room and contorting his body. So, like I said, I think it was consistent with the universe, even if it wasn't the way I would have told the story. Overall, I
Right.
gave it a 2 in terms of the X Factor. Just
Ooh,
really because
alright.
I gave it. Because I like Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga's characters. I think they're both good actors, and
Right.
even in
Yeah,
this kind
well,
of
another
craziness.
thing I did appreciate with this one too, that's different from any of the other Conjuring movies and their spinoffs, was there was an actual villain. They went to the occultist route here, where there was the occultist, that witch. So there was a tangible villain, not just an all around demon or paranormal. There was an actual person that they actually could lay hands on, which they did at the very end, or at least the demon got her at the end. Spoiler alert: the demon still needed a soul. All right.
Oof, yeah. Patrick
Mm,
Wilson just delivered that line with pure disdain,
I know, and they got her. They
And they
got
got
that.
her.
That
They got her. Can't outrun it, right? Selling your soul out
Nope.
there, right? Guys in
Nope.
Hollywood, I'm looking at you right now. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So in terms of total score, would you give it?
I gave it a, I gave it a 69 out of 100. I would still recommend this movie, especially if you do like these kind of, if you are in that Conjuring universe and you are a fan of it. It's a good offering to add to that.
Yeah, I give it a 68. So we're really close on this one. Again, like you said, it's not my total cup of tea in terms of like horror styles that I like. And actually, shout out to, I just did a recent spotlight video. I'll put the card up for The Black Coat's Daughter, which is a much different style of horror. But at the same time, too, I don't think this is a bad movie. It's executed well. Fans of the universe, you're going to be happy if you watch this movie. It's going to deliver on everything you're expecting. Right. And I think other people too, they could get a little something out of this. But it is a little heavy-handed at times, but it is what it is,
Yeah, definitely. There, like anything, there's going to be plot holes and all that. And then for the people of the Conjuring universe, they might feel that this is not as scary, but I feel like they're just basing that on there's just not as many jump scares, which is not fair. I feel this is more psychological, terror in terms of. So I like the way that they went that route.
So let's kick it back over to the fans and people watching at home. Let us know what you guys think. Did you guys like this movie? Where do your scores align with ours? What do you think about the performances? Where do you think that this fits in the Conjuring universe? Is this one of your favorites? Was this one a little bit of a disappointment? I'm anxious to hear what you guys think. We got Al here. He's the resident fan in that zone there. So leading off him, but we're actually pretty close on this one in terms of scores. Yeah. So here's to get hear the people's feedback and see what they think. And it's kind of cool right now. I mean, we're in between periods of coming back from the pandemic. You can either watch it at home or watch it in the theaters. This one actually probably would have been fun to see in the theaters,
Oh, absolutely.
A full immersion. But I still enjoyed it nonetheless. I didn't feel like I wasted my time on it, and we'll see what they do. I got to catch up though. I got to watch that Conjuring 2.
Yeah, you should, man. You should. They're all good for a few scares each.
Yeah, right on. All right. Well, to everybody else, any closing thoughts?
No, I'm just gonna wait for the next one. Maybe they'll do The Haunting of El Cucuy or something like that.
All right, man. Well, until then, thanks everybody for watching. Like I said, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Leave your comments below, and summer's around the corner. Get those gains.
Get those gains. All right. Natty or not, do it. Who cares?